Good morning, folks, and welcome to Slade Centers. My name is Reed, and today's session is going to be about advertising. And we've talked about advertising before, how to do this if you have zero budget. And today's session is a slight twist on that. How can you advertise with a big budget that's not your money? Well, that's an interesting question, Reed. I'd love to do that, but how do I find other people's money? I'm glad you asked. I'd like to introduce you to the concept of co-op advertising. Imagine, if you would, that you have, let's say, a photography studio, and right next door to you is a dry cleaner, right next door to that is a surf shop, right next door to that is a restaurant. And you're going to be having a special event this Saturday. Well, if you had an advertising budget of, let's say, $500, you could advertise in one, maybe two newspapers and really push this. But what happened if you said, this is going to benefit all of these businesses? What I would like to do is I want to get money from each of these other businesses, and we'll go into this together and we'll do a promoting this activity, and it will benefit all four of these businesses. Even though each of these businesses is slightly different and they have different customers, by having a common event, it will draw people to this. Now you're going to say, Reed, can I do this with other applications? Absolutely. So I go to each of these other business owners and I say, rather than each of us spending money and getting limited results, let's pool our resources, have a co-op, and we'll advertise the event, and we'll just have our logos on this, and in that way we'll bring people to the event, and once they're here, then we'll get business from this. When you do co-op advertising, you can combine your resources to get a synergistic effect where 1 + 1 is more than 2. Okay, that's if you have location synergies, because you're all together in one area. What happens if you want to do a co-op and you don't have anybody close to you that's open? Could you do a co-op with similar industries? For instance, if you had a mortgage broker that teamed up with a title insurance agency, that teamed up with a appraiser, that teamed up with a surveyor, that teamed up with a property manager, and you put an ad in the paper, or you put an ad in a real estate magazine offering your services. You have a great big ad that brings people's eyes to this, and because you can go ahead and do a larger ad, you get a greater response than if you just had a teeny tiny little ad. In this way, rather than spending, let's say, $500 for an ad, maybe you're spending $100 on this ad, and maybe you use that same advertising budget and you place this in 5 different magazines or 5 different newspapers. If you can stretch your dollar and have it work better for you, you can do wonderful things. And I've got a secret. When you talk to an ad manager, one of the people that is placing these ads with a newspaper or with a magazine, if you can do a quantity purchase, you'll get quantity discounts. What does that mean? Instead of getting one little ad for $200, I can get 10 ads for $600. You're going to say, Reed, does it work quite like that? Pretty darn close. The more you get, the deeper the discounts they will give you. And so if you can keep your cost down by doing co-op advertising, you can get a greater market placement, and you can have more people that are looking at your ad. Now, in conjunction with that, let me talk about promotions for just a second. Out in Colorado Springs, we used to do a promotion every month with a local radio station. And I love radio stations. The reason I like radio stations is when people are listening to you on that radio station, there is an intimate connection, and people feel that they know you. Now, if you have good content, that's good. If you don't know what you're doing, that's bad. So don't get on the radio if you're not good at speaking extemporaneously, or if you can't answer questions by someone that can speak extemporaneously. So know what your strengths are and know how to do this. Getting back to promotions. If you're doing a promotion, have this be something that targets your specific audience. So let me use the example of the babies. If you're selling baby clothes, you don't place this on a radio station that's running ads to seniors. You place it on a radio station that is specifically targeting young adults and young parents. Conversely, if you have a product that is specific for seniors, don't place it on a hottest of the pop tunes. You want to go ahead and place it on a talk or a Christian radio station. When you have a promotion, you want to have this be done right, because the only thing worse than having nobody attend is to have people think that's cheesy and have a negative connotation with your company. Because if you do it the wrong way, you haven't helped yourself, you've just hurt yourself. So everything you do, you have to ask yourself, what am I doing and what will the results be? If the results are positive, go forward. If the results are negative, obviously you don't do it. And in everything that you do, you want to ask for an immediate and direct response. So if you're going to be advertising something on the radio, call now. Don't just have product brand awareness ads. Call now, operators are standing by. If you have an ad in the paper, call now for your free report. If you have an ad in a magazine, go to our website right now to get this special report or to sign up for this event that's going to be happening in 2 days. You must ask for an immediate response, and you must be able to quantify that. And with everything that you do, you need to quantify the results. So if you spend $1,000 in advertising and you got 0 response, maybe that wasn't the good ad. And before you place the ad, test this. And you can say, Reed, how can I test this until I actually talk to people? If you have customers, say, I'm just trying to do a little bit of a market jingle here. Let me play this for you. Tell me what you think. Don't tell me it's nice. Tell me how I can make it better. And if people like it, that's a good thing. If you can do this in a way where you can find out the results ahead of time, it's much better, because it's really hard to redo an ad after it's played on the radio. Once it's played, it's out there. And if you have a negative impression that you leave, that's going to stay with them. So make sure that everything that you do, if you're spending your hard-earned time and dollars on an ad, make sure that it's a positive impression by testing small first.